Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. The federal government 7-count charge against Mr. Omoyele Sowore and the issues raised gets us talking on the program tonight. Let's get back to the conversation with Senior Advocate of Nigeria and rights activist Chief Mike Ozekhome. He's in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Senior Advocate, for coming on tonight on the program. The 4 to 5 days detention window is here and over. And now that this has happened, what's your immediate reaction on the charges and allegations leveled against Sowore?
My immediate reaction was to laugh. I laughed with a guffaw. And I told myself that the government, like Wole Soyinka noted abroad, is becoming more and more paranoid. It's carrying its anti-opponent's stance and template to a ridiculous and ludicrous level that it is now becoming more and more very childish. And I told myself, the government cannot be serious charging Sowore for allegedly attempting or declaring a revolution. It depends on what meaning you want to attach to revolution. And I think the government is stretching the meaning of revolution too far to achieve its own intent. For example, it is revolution when the earth revolves around the sun. Scientifically, that's a revolution. It is revolution when, as the government itself stated in its campaign slogan, you move to the next level from another level. It is revolution when, in their first coming, they clamored for change. Change from what? Change from one situation to another. That is revolution. Revolution need not be bloody. Revolution need not be carrying of arms or levying war against the state or overthrowing the president or the governor of a state or members of the National Assembly. I do not believe that was the sense in which Sowore and others of their movement, Revolution Now, were clamoring for revolution. Sowore, they itemized the ills of the society. They talked about bad educational system. They talked about youth unemployment. They talked about insecurity of lives and property. They talked about bad and opaque governance and said there is the need for this government to move away from it. And in attempting to do that, he said, fellow Nigerians, come onto the streets. Let's demonstrate. Whether he uses the word revolution or resolution or change, is simply of no moment. After all, the president himself and the topmost echelon of the APC in 2011 actually called for revolution in this country. They said Nigerians needed a revolution to unseat the then sitting government of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan so as to go to another level through a change. When you were clamoring for change, they even used an organization called Occupy Nigeria. And they were in the forefront, demonstrating on the streets of Abuja. Occupy Nigeria literally closed down Nigeria, at least Abuja city, Lagos city. And these people were in the forefront, clamoring for change. They abused Jonathan. There was nothing they did not say about him. They say he was clueless. They said he was daft. They say he was spineless. One of the topmost APC members actually said he was an Ijo drunkard who is used to drinking akpeteshi, kankai, or rum. Jonathan would just smile, and with smiles and affability, he would just wave it off and laugh. I said, this do not have to affect the serious issue of governance. Why is this government trivializing governance? Why are we talking about Sowore and revolution when Nigerians are hungry, when they are
Senior
helpless,
advocate,
when they are
Chief
hopeless,
Ozekhome,
when they are despondent? I
let
thought
me
we should be more occupied about how to remove Nigeria from the doldrums than this childish Babasalas, Alawada, Keri, histrionics. That's what I'm saying.
Senior advocate,
Using the substance to pursue trifles.
let me put this perspective. Maybe you can speak in this perspective. In the 2000s, from year 2000, when you talk about revolution and unrest, if you come close home on the continent, you have the Arab Spring in Egypt, you have the Libyan unrest, you have the, if you go elsewhere, you see the Syrian unrest, the Bahrainian revolution, the Ukrainian revolution, and how those revolution and the unrest have left those countries. Would you say that the government of the day is paranoid considering those kind of situations in some of these places that I've mentioned?
I wouldn't think so at all. The situation in those countries are different. For example, on the 9th of March, 2007, all the lawyers in Pakistan poured out on the streets, demonstrating against the government of President Pervez Musharraf, who had illegally removed the then Chief Justice of Pakistan, Mohammed Chaudhry, over abuse of office and sundry crimes. They were demonstrating, and the demonstration lasted for 6 months until the government and the Supreme Court were forced to reinstate Chaudhry, Mohammed Chaudhry, as the Chief Justice of Pakistan. That was a revolution, but it was not violent. It was meant to be impactful, to send a message, to say these things are wrong. Depart from them. For example, when I was kidnapped and I was released on the 12th of September, 2013, I called for a declaration of a state of emergency on youth unemployment and on infrastructural decay. I was calling for a revolution. That is why I say you do not have to typify revolution with its odious and negative meaning as attempting to overthrow a government. Question, Sheun Okimbaloye, where are the arms and ammunition that the DSS has found with Sowore and with others? Don't forget, the others still came out to carry out the so-called revolution in quote. They were still caught on the streets of Abuja, of Lagos. They were carrying placards, demonstrating on the streets, protesting, which is allowed by the Constitution from Section 38, 39, 40, and all that. We no go agree, oh, we no go agree to bad governance. We no go agree. A luta continua, Victoria asceta, a luta continua, Victoria asceta. The struggle continues. Victory is certain. We did this. Michael Ozekhome, and others, led by Chief Gani Fawehinmi, we did this over the years on the streets of Lagos, from Mushin to Ikeja, to Yaba, to Oyigbo. We demonstrated on the streets against bad governments, against military dictatorships, including that of Buhari, including that of Babangida, including that of Obasanjo. And many a time the policemen will even lead us quietly. Many a time they tear gassed us. But nobody was charged for treason or treasonable felony. Do you know that treason involves the death penalty under sections 37 and 38 of the Criminal Code? See also section 410 of the Penal Code. Do you know that treasonable felony, when proven, involves life imprisonment under sections 40, 41, 42, 43, up to 46 of the Criminal Code? Are these offenses that we should trivialize? What are the means by which Sowore and his group were to carry out this revolution? Sheun, let me tell you this. in law, I've seen their section 4, subsection 1B of their charge. It's in the media. They are saying that is the offense of attempt. And attempt means when you form an intention to carry out a crime by certain unlawful means. It does not matter whether you were able to consummate the crime or whether the crime was aborted or whether it was not even possible in the first instance or whether you later reside on it. But the important thing is that in forming that intention, you must have exhibited overt act. That is why in law, there's what you call mens rea, which is the forming or the formation of the intention, and the actus reus, which is the physical, actual, overt carrying out of that intention. Because you cannot punish intention.
Chief Ozekhome, if you look at some of the charge, in one of it relates to some of the statements allegedly made by Mr. Sowore, which in the charge is the fear in that was that it's inciting and it could lead inciting against the government of the day or ill against the government of the day. How would you relate that? And morally speaking also, when the federal government said, if you're lost out in an election and you're asking that a government be toppled, allegedly toppled, how would you relate and correlate those two, Chief Ozekhome?
I didn't hear the word topple ever in Sowore something. You even played the video. I didn't hear Sowore or others say the government should be toppled. They were saying we want revolution, we want certain things that are wrong with the system to be removed. Now, I saw their section, I saw one of the charges, section 24 of the cyber case law act, which they try to rely on, which says that if you use the means of computer or such data to incite members of the public or insult others or cause others to take up arms and all that, that you are guilty of a criminal offense and you are liable to 7 million naira fine or 3 years imprisonment. I saw all those ones. The question is, how does a peaceful demonstration and merely saying so, freedom of expression under section 39, how does it begin to form the serious crime under section 41 and 42 of the criminal code of attempting to levy war against the state or overthrowing the president or overthrowing the governor of a state or overthrowing members of the National Assembly to change their policies? What was manifested by Sowore? Was he caught with guns? The DSS hasn't told us that Sowore had guns. They haven't told us that any of them was caught even with a banger, children's Christmas knockout. I haven't heard that.
Chief Ozekhome,
what they are saying,
Sarah, for example,
they even charge him under. Just a moment. They will charge him under section 516. I think they have not seen the case of Enahoro versus Rex, who said that when you are charging somebody under that section 37.1, you cannot go to the general section of conspiracy of section 516 because the section itself has already involved it. The man who spoke before me was talking about sedition. I don't think he is aware that sedition has since been abolished in Nigeria by the court in the case of Atonwankwo versus State that said there is no law like sedition. That one has been quashed, vanquished by the court in this country. That is the position of the law. The law of sedition is as dead as dodo. I can assure you of that.
Chief Ozekhome, let's hang this matter on and let's anchor on this, getting your the benefit of your experience and your view on this, where to go from here, based on the public interest in this kind of case and what reaction have come on this matter. Sarah, for example, is asking that the federal government should end this case. Would you suggest so?
To me, the government should end the case and save itself the odium, obloquy, disparagement, and embarrassment that its obvious loss will entail. I see the case as dead on arrival. It's a case that came in a coffin, just telling the court to bury it. It has no substance. It's what William Shakespeare in Julius Caesar we call a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. The case is as dead as dodo. Dodo, by the way, is not fried plantain. Dodo is a bird that used to exist in the southern part of Africa. It is now extinct. So when you say something is as dead as dodo, it means it is extinct. It can never fly. Okay. This is one case that cannot fly. It
Chief Ozekhome, we're perhaps
dead and is waiting to be buried.
We must sincerely thank you for your views tonight on the program on this matter, and we'll look at how it pans out in the coming days. Chief Mike Ozekhome, senior advocate of Nigeria, constitutional lawyer, and a rights activist. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.